So I'm Karen Cater, and I'm Director of Education Leadership at Apple, and I'm also the Chair of the Partnership for 21st Century Skills.
What does 21st century literacies mean to you?
21st century literacies or 21st century skills, or some people are now calling it 21st century expertise, is really about trying to define and articulate what it is that's coming out of the 21st century workplace, the 21st century global economy, and education to help students be better prepared for what they're going to find when they get out of school. So 21st century literacies really are designed to better articulate what students need to be successful in work, in higher education, or in a global economy.
How does the 21st century literate, or proficient or skilled or
Right.
whatever, education system look different from the way, say, education is carried out today?
So the difference really in the 20th century and in really many schools today, the focus is really on core subjects, and then the high stakes assessments assess students' content knowledge, how well they've learned those core subjects. And what we're really trying to do is articulate the necessity for having sort of a wider range of skills, and some of them may be process skills, but the kinds of things that we're looking at, in addition to core subjects and thinking about core subjects in kind of a multidisciplinary fashion, also thinking then about what we're calling 21st century content, global awareness, financial literacy, health and wellness awareness, entrepreneurial skills. Those are things that we're calling 21st century content that really need to be incorporated into core subjects. Then there are the thinking and learning skills, which are things like critical thinking and collaboration and problem solving, teamwork, working well with others. Those are the kinds of thinking and learning skills that we know are important in the workplace, in learning lifelong, and definitely in the world we live in. Another area is what we're calling ICT literacy. That's information communication technologies literacy. And the key there is not teaching students or helping people understand what to point and click on and how to work with a certain application, but really how do you use existing and emerging technologies to accomplish the thinking and learning skills. So the thinking and learning skills, again, collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, how do you use the technologies to help you accomplish those skills? So the another whole area is what we're calling life skills or personal skills. And those are personal responsibility and ethics and self-direction and the kinds of skills that really will help students be successful regardless of what they're going to do into the future. So again, the core subjects, the thinking and learning skills, the 21st century content, ICT literacy, and life skills, sort of the wrapper around what we're looking at in 21st century skills.
So how did Apple get involved in this conference?
The partnership is made up of sort of three groups. It's education groups, the National Education Association, and the National Association of School Librarians, in addition to, or the American Association of School Librarians, in addition to businesses like Apple and Dell and Intel and Microsoft and many other companies, and then many foundations that are also involved in the partnership. So it's really a combination of business, education, and then policy-making entities.
What are some success stories that you've seen? And what are some ways to integrate media into education?
Yeah, so when we think about kind of what we've seen be successful, I think one really promising practice is what some people call project-based learning or project learning. And it's really when we see the incorporation of the content areas with the thinking and learning skills, with the project skills, with the opportunity for students and teachers to kind of set out a timeline and incorporate some self-direction, incorporate the technology tools, the research tools, the information, the media. Those are the kinds of things that really give students the opportunity to dig in and demonstrate 21st century skills. So some of the programs that we've seen that a lot of the, there's a teacher in Southern California that teaches social studies, but much of the class is about creating documentaries. So it requires researching skills, writing skills, storyboarding skills, understanding the content, understanding the world, but creating documentaries that just bring that learning to life. And the students then are absolutely learning social studies, absolutely learning the collaboration and those kinds of skills. Definitely writing. They're rigorous. They are very relevant, engaging. Students who otherwise don't come to school for that class. That's, I would say, a promising practice. Another thing that we've seen that I think is a promising practice for incorporating 21st century skills are many of the career and technical programs. Very unlike the old vocational education, which was about teaching students a skill that then they can go get a job with. The career and technical programs really incorporate sort of rigorous content with a relevance about some content areas. So they may join a career and tech program around healthcare, for example. Their social studies and science and math and English classes all sort of incorporate common themes, but they learn the content sort of in a context that it creates a relevance that students wouldn't get otherwise if they're just doing math and then they go to English and then social studies and then science, and it's just disconnected content.
What sort of change do you think needs to happen in order to implement these new methods of learning? And do you think this conference will help move towards that goal? Like, what do you see coming out of this conference?
The big question is, what will help? How will we actually get there from here, so to speak? I think that a lot of it really is continued communication and articulation, and helping policymakers understand that the policies they set will really drive what happens in the classroom. Many times people think that sort of policy and high-level articulation is so disconnected from what happens in the classroom that it's sort of two distinct worlds. But I think that right now with No Child Left Behind and some of the things that have been instituted in schools have really, those are high-level policies and directions that have really forced teachers to think way more about those distinct knowledge pieces, bits and bytes that students need to remember to pass the test. And I think that what we need is really giving people permission to be creative and innovative in the classroom and to continue to drive project learning and that kind of thing. But I think also what needs to happen is we need to be able to use the technology really to publish the best practices, the promising practices, the things that we've seen, and not just show this is a cool project that kids did, but how did that project connect with the thinking and learning skills? What was the content that was learned in this project? What were the life skills that were learned in this project? And really have very clear articulation and demonstrations of what's possible. This conference was successful because it pulled together people who are what I would call multipliers. Each person of this conference touches many other people in their organizations. So you have the National Council of Teachers of English, and then the Geography Association, and Science and Math and Social Studies. And what's happened at this conference is these people have gotten together and to talk about the intersection between their disciplines and also the intersection with their disciplines and 21st century skills. So what I hope to come out of this conference is sort of a renewed understanding and articulation of kind of what's possible if people can start being more connected than disconnected. I think, again, people will go away with ideas about some things that they can do within their content associations, and then ideas about how they can continue to cross-pollinate with the other organizations that they're meeting today. So I think that what 21st century literacy really means, and what this is really all about, is providing an opportunity for everybody to really understand and then apply the right skills and technologies and content in the classroom so students can be successful in work, in life, and in higher education.